All right, today we're going to pull back the curtain on the internet. We're going to look at the hidden framework, the blueprint behind every single website you've ever used. We are talking about HTML.
I mean, really, have you ever stopped to think about that? When you open a web page, how does your browser know what's a big headline, what's a paragraph, or what's a link you can click on? Does it all just magically sort itself out from a jumble of text?
Well, the answer is actually pretty simple and kind of cool. It's not magic at all. Every web page has a skeleton, a basic, sturdy structure that gives it shape and tells everything where to go. And that skeleton is built with HTML.
So what is this stuff? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Okay, hypertext is just a fancy way of saying links. It's the stuff that connects pages together to make a web. But the real key is that second part, markup language. It's all about taking plain text and literally marking it up with labels to give it meaning. Okay, to really get why HTML is so important, let's do a little thought experiment. Let's put ourselves in the shoes of a web browser. What does it actually see before any of this structure gets applied? It sees this, just a big, shapeless wall of text. The browser has no clue what's important, where one thought ends and another begins, or what the main title is. It's just pure chaos. And that's not very helpful, is it?
And that right there is the fundamental problem HTML was invented to solve. How in the world do we take that chaotic mess and turn it into something organized, something a human can actually read and understand?
The answer is we use these simple little labels called tags. You can think of them like instructions you leave for the browser. You're basically putting little notes on your text that say, hey browser, this part is a heading, or this chunk of text over here is a paragraph. These tags are the actual bones of our skeleton.
And here's what that looks like. It's so simple. We just wrap our title in an H1 tag, which stands for heading 1, and we wrap the description in a P tag for paragraph. Just like that, our text isn't just text anymore. It has a job. It has a purpose.
And because of those tags, boom, the browser instantly gets it. It knows to show a big, bold heading at the top and a nice clean paragraph right below it. We've just used HTML to turn total chaos into perfect clarity. That's the power of this language.
So we know we use tags to build things, but what are the most common ones you'll run into? Let's meet the essential bones that you'll use to build pretty much any web page up there.
Now, headings are way more than just a way to make text bigger. You should think of them like the chapters and subheadings in a book. The H1 is the main title of your whole page. You only get one. H2s are like the major chapter titles, and H3s are for sections within those chapters. This structure, this hierarchy, isn't just for people. It's a critical roadmap for things like search engines to understand what your page is all about. Then, of course, you've got the absolute workhorse of the web, the P tag for any old paragraph. And for a little visual flair, you can use HR to draw a line across the page, or BR to force a line break, which is kind of like hitting the Enter key in the middle of a sentence. And what about lists? HTML makes them super easy. If you need things in a specific order, like steps in a recipe, you use an ordered list, or OL. If the order doesn't matter and you just want bullet points, you use an unordered list, UL. The browser handles all the numbering and bullet points for you.
So we've got our text all structured, but let's be real, a web page is more than just organized text. It's connected, it's visual. So now let's look at how HTML brings in two of the most important things on the web, links and images.
So here we have two really powerful tags, and they work a little bit differently. They use something extra called an attribute. An attribute is just a piece of extra information that tells the tag how to do its job. For a link, we use the A tag or anchor tag, and its href attribute tells it where the link should go. For an image, we use the image tag, and its src attribute points to the source of the image file. And these attributes can give some really neat instructions. For instance, adding target equals blank to a link tells the browser, hey, open this one in a new tab, which is super user-friendly. But some attributes are absolutely critical, like the alt attribute for an image. This alternative text describes the image for visually impaired users, and it's also what shows up if the image is broken. It's a huge part of making the web work for everyone. Okay, that's enough theory. The absolute best way to understand how all these bones connect is to build a skeleton ourselves. So let's take everything we just learned and put it all together to build our very first web page. So here's our plan. We're going to build a simple page. It'll have a main title,
a picture, a few sections with information, a couple of lists, and of course, a link at the end. It's the perfect little project to see how all these pieces fit together.
Every good page needs a strong start. So first up, we'll plant our flag with the main title using that big, important H1 tag. Right after that, let's bring in our main visual with an IMG tag. And to create some clean separation, we'll draw a nice line right under it with an HR. 3 steps, simple as that.
All right, now for the actual content. We'll start our first major section using an H2 tag, which keeps that nice, clear hierarchy we talked about. Then we just fill in that section with the details using a standard P tag for our paragraph. Now it's time to organize some key info. For the list of skills, the order doesn't really matter, so a simple bulleted list, our good friend UL, is the perfect choice. But for our step-by-step guide, the sequence is everything. So for that, we'll use a numbered ordered list, an OL. See how we're picking the tag that best fits the meaning of the content? That's what this is all about.
And to wrap it all up, we'll add our final call to action. We'll use the anchor tag to create a clickable link that can guide the user to another resource, completing our page.
And there you have it. Look at that. With just a handful of simple, logical tags, we took a plain block of text and gave it a meaningful structure. This fundamental idea, this system of labels, is exactly what holds the entire web together. And now, you know its secret. But of course, this skeleton is just the beginning. The next step is to add the skin, the design and style, which is done with CSS. And then you add the muscles, the interactivity, which is done with JavaScript. So now that you know how the bones connect, what would you build with it? How would you bring your own web page to life?